Welcome to Investigation 12C. This is Enlightenment Primary Analysis. This particular activity is going to take your analysis of your personal life and you're going to compare it to analysis of Enlightenment reforms of the 18th century in America. And you're going to construct an argument of similarities and differences between Thomas Jefferson's interpretation of what it means for the pursuit of happiness in America, written in the Declaration of Independence, versus your perspective on what the pursuit of happiness means to you today. So we've got to do a little soul searching today. Okay, and then we're going to do some interpretation of primary documents. We're going to look at similarities and differences, and then you're going to construct an argument on Monday. So what I want everybody to do now is go to Investigation 12C, Enlightenment Primary Analysis in your Google Classroom and click on where it says Student Copy. Once you click on Student Copy, this is what you're going to see. I want you to split your, as you're setting up your Google document, side by side with mine. On the left side of the screen should be my document. On the right side of the screen should be your document. This is document-based questions about Thomas Jefferson and his world. The pursuit of happiness. What does the pursuit of happiness mean to you? To pursue happiness. Well, I asked you that question in the beginning of the year. I asked you to create a digital portfolio, a map of your life. The map of your life creates a digital roadmap in which if you walk that roadmap, you are pursuing your version of happiness. We're going to use that map of your life today. Okay? Ms. Gallagher, can you mute the board? Thank you. Okay, so what you're going to do is we're going to reflect on this prompt, and then I'm going to give you directions. The prompt. How does Thomas Jefferson's interpretation of the American pursuit of happiness in the Declaration of Independence compare to your pursuit of happiness today? Let's take a look at the instructions and what we have to do. So, for a little background content. In the late 1700s, you had 13 British colonies in North America on the East Coast. New Jersey, we were one of those colonies. The British colonies were controlled by England's Great Britain and a king, King George. He had almost absolute power over our lives all the way across the Atlantic Ocean from England. There were many people in the 13 colonies that were unhappy with this way of life. And they figured, if I live all the way on the other side of the Atlantic Ocean in a new world, why should a king so far away in the old world have the right to tell me what my happiness looks like? There were many people in the colonies that were unhappy. Some of the informed, intellectual, enlightenment-based leaders and thinkers, political leaders, they got together and they decided, we are going to create a document and declare how we want to live our lives different from Great Britain, different from England. We're going to make a declaration. We're going to make an announcement. We want to be independent from England, and we want to start our own country here in this new world. We're going to call it America. Thomas Jefferson in 1776, along with a few other men, very important individuals to our country and our identity, they wrote this statement. This is an excerpt from the Declaration of Independence to the King of England. And here's what Thomas Jefferson says: on behalf of all people living in the colonies who were to be future Americans, And this is what he says. We hold these truths, what we're saying in this document, to be true, to be self-evident. It's obvious, it's true. And what is he saying we believe is the truth here in the colonies? That all men, and when they say men, they mean people, all men are created equal, and that they are endowed by their creator, the religious, spiritual creator, with certain unalienable rights. You're born, you immediately have these rights when you're born. Thomas Jefferson is saying here in the colonies, we're going to start a new country. And in this new country, the second you're born, you are guaranteed new rights. Sorry, King of England, in this new country, this is what you're guaranteed. Life, no one can just kill you anymore like the old ways in Europe. Liberty, rights that protect you by law, and the pursuit of happiness. This was a brand new concept in world history at that time. We're no longer going to listen to the absolute authority of kings and queens. And people who are poor can earn their way up the social mobility ladder and make their own life. He also says that to secure these rights, governments are instituted by men who are deriving their powers from the consent of the governed. In other words, look, we don't listen to kings anymore. We don't listen to queens anymore. We all get together and we vote what's best for the group. And whoever gets majority, that's the rules that we go by. Democracy. Okay? That whenever any form of government becomes destructive, it is the right of the people to alter or abolish it and to institute a new government. So Thomas Jefferson is telling the King of England, your rules and your laws and your way of life for us in these colonies on the other side of the Atlantic Ocean is unfair. We're no longer going to listen to you, and we're going to make our own rules and our own way of life and form our own country. And that lays its foundation on such principles as organizing its power in such a form as to them shall seem most likely to affect their safety and happiness. In other words, we're going to create a new government, no kings and queens, everybody vote for what's best for the group. And in that way, whoever lives in our new country has the right to pursue their version of happiness. And this is what Thomas Jefferson said in 1776. The fact that we won the American Revolution allows you today, right now, in this moment in your life, to be able to pursue your version of happiness. So let's figure out what that is. Here we go. Here's our directions. Number one, open the attached document. That is this document. Everyone should have this document open, split screen and side by side with my screen. Now, the second thing you're going to do is you have to go to the map of your life that you created. And let me explain what you're going to do. You're going to go to Google Drive. So you got to click the plus to open a new tab and then find Google Drive in the right. And you're going to open your map of your life. How do I find the map of my life in my Drive? To find it, search your Google Drive by typing in the search box, a map of my life. It should come up. Okay? To pull up the map of your life. Mr. D, I'm new to this class. I never created a map of my life. If you don't have a map of your life created because you were on remote or new to the class, all you have to do, search Google for a famous quote that matches your version of the pursuit of happiness. So what you would do is type the pursuit of happiness famous quotes. Now you can do that in Google if you do not have a map of your life. So these are the two things that we're looking for, okay? You can do either one. once you find the map of your life or your famous quotes, I'm going to scroll down here. You're going to copy it and paste it right in this box. So look at my screen. This is an example of someone's pursuit of happiness, a student from last year. What will my successful life look like in the future? This is the pursuit of happiness. This person wants to be a chef and live in a beautiful house in the Maldives in Southeast Asia, drive a beautiful car, spend a lot of time in the ocean. They want to run their restaurant. They want to make a lot of money. This is their pursuit of happiness. So people who have a map of your life, go to your vision board. Open the map of your life and scroll down to your vision board, copy it, or take a screenshot and paste it right here. So you could click on this box and then click delete, and then click paste and paste your version in this box. And that's what we're looking to do. I'm going to give you about 5 minutes to complete this task. Once you do, inside our class chat, when you're finished, you're going to type the word done. Okay? People who are looking for the quote, the pursuit of happiness quotes, you need to type that into Google, and then you need to read a few of the quotes and find the quote that matches how you feel about how you looking to find happiness later in life. Copy that whole quote and paste it right in the same grid box. So here's what we're going to do now. Make sure you explain how your vision board reflects your perspective on the pursuit of happiness. So you would say this vision board or this quote reflects on my perspective on the pursuit of happiness because, for example, you would say, because I value, what do you value in life? I value my freedom. I value my freedom to make choices now that will get me what I want to be happy in the future. Okay, so a nice explanation, a few sentences you need. It says in the yellow, your screen should be side by side with mine, document 1 directions. Analyze the documents that follow. Okay, we have to look at some primary words. Then choose 2 documents that are similar to your version of the pursuit of happiness, that match up with your perspective. And then choose 1 document that is different from your view. So what are these documents? These documents are all interpretations of what Thomas Jefferson really meant when he said the pursuit of happiness in the famous document, okay, the Declaration of Independence. Thomas Jefferson claimed, I know what my people want. They want to pursue their own version of happiness. And then he tried to explain what that meant. We're going to make a government. We're not going to have kings and queens. We're all going to vote on what's best for us. And in that way, everybody will be given power to go and find what makes them happy. So what does he really mean by this? Well, you have a group of famous historians are going to try to interpret what they think Thomas Jefferson means when he says the pursuit of happiness. So some of these you'll read and you'll say, no, that doesn't match up with how I feel I'm free to be happy. Or, wow, yeah, that does kind of match up with how I feel. So we have to deconstruct these statements and better understand them. And we're going to do that together. So let's look at document 1, follow me. This is Daniel Borstein in an interview with Ken Burns in 1997. Who's Daniel Borstein? Daniel Borstein is an American historian at the University of Chicago. Oh, that's a prestigious university. He wrote on many topics in American and world history. This is what Daniel Borstein thinks Thomas Jefferson meant when he said the pursuit of happiness in the Declaration of Independence. I think people have not reflected often enough on the meaning of that phrase. If we follow Jeffersonian clues and look at the meaning of the words in their time in 1776, and think about the word pursue and its significance in Jefferson's day, to pursue. What does this mean? To chase, to follow, to go after? What is he saying? What does he mean? Is that what I'm doing today? Am I chasing my dreams? Am I going after my dreams? Think about it. We find that it doesn't mean exactly what we thought it meant. We must remember that we tend to think of a pursuit of happiness as something that's chasing after happiness, like on the map of your life. But we also use the expression, he pursues the law, which means he practices the law. So to pursue could mean to practice. And the idea of the pursuit of happiness in that day in 1776 probably means just as much the right to enjoy happiness as the right to pursue it or go after it. And there's a difference there. So let's highlight this. And the idea of the pursuit of happiness in that day probably meant just as much the right to enjoy happiness in the moment, just as much as the right to pursue it in the future. Everybody highlight that. And I would say the right to enjoy happiness, I would highlight that in orange because it's different as the right to pursue it. And I would highlight that in turquoise. So Daniel Borstein said, when Thomas Jefferson said, life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness, what I think he means, Daniel Borstein's point of view, is that Thomas Jefferson said, if you're happy right now in this moment in your life in 1776, this document gives you the right to enjoy your life right now. Be happy. Do not let a king bring you down with his unfair rules. If you're happy right now, be happy in 1776. Do not let a king influence your life. And then he also said, if you're not happy, but you want to go out there and follow the map of your life, a plan to become happy and pursue that plan, you have the right to do that too. In other words, you're living in 1776 and you're poor and your family's poor, but you have this idea of making shoes in a way no one else knows how. And everyone's going to love your shoes. And if you make these shoes and everyone buys your shoes, your poor family can rise up out of poverty and you can make something out of your life and you could possibly become wealthy. The right to pursue happiness. In the old world, if you're poor, you're poor. It's very difficult to rise up out of that situation. But Thomas Jefferson is saying in this new world, if you're happy right now in 1776, enjoy it. But if you're not happy and you want to change your life, you're going to have the right to do that in our new country, America. Now, take a look at this. What is it? Well, it says Daniel Borstein to Ken Burns in an interview. Okay? It is an interview. So instead of doing our full grid, we broke down the boxes to make it simpler so you can go faster. Who said it? Daniel Borstein. Copy, paste. How easy is that? What is the purpose? Is it to inform us of ideas? Is it to persuade us to believe in something? Or is it to entertain us? Okay. The purpose is to inform. Daniel Borstein wants to inform us of his belief of Thomas Jefferson's view on the pursuit of happiness. This is what a famous historian believes Thomas Jefferson said. What is the meaning of the pursuit of happiness according to Daniel Borstein after looking at Thomas Jefferson's words? All right. Some deep thinking here. So Daniel Borstein wants us to consider the idea that Thomas Jefferson wanted people to enjoy happiness in the moment and have the freedom to pursue it in the future, to find their own version of happiness. So you're going to type that and then right underneath, this document does or does not match my pursuit of happiness. So you would say it does match it or it doesn't match it, and you say why. See if you can do that before the bell rings. If not, finish that one little part for homework, and we're going to continue this on Monday. And this is how you would complete the next 5 documents. Okay, let's take a look at document 2. Always look at who the creator is. Okay, let's see. We have Clay Jenkinson. Now, who's that? In another Ken Burns interview, 1997. Okay, so who's Clay Jenkinson? Well, Clay Strauss Jenkinson, he's an American humanities scholar, an author, and an educator. He's currently the director of the Dakota Institute, where he co-hosts public radio's The Thomas Jefferson Hour and creates documentary films, symposia, and literary projects. This is another person with credibility from the academic world. Let's see this individual's perspective on Thomas Jefferson's point of view on the pursuit of happiness for all Americans. So Clay Jenkinson says, the phrase, the pursuit of happiness, it comes from John Locke. He was another Enlightenment thinker. It was widely used phrase in the 18th century in Enlightenment circles. And it essentially means the pursuit of public happiness. The creation of a republic which enables humans to thrive. But for Jefferson, it means much more than that. Nobody knows quite what Jefferson meant by it, but it seems to mean a limited government that leaves you more or less alone to pursue your own ideas of destiny and fulfillment. All right, so Clay Jenkinson believes that Thomas Jefferson in the Declaration of Independence said, you are guaranteed your life and no one that can take that away from you. You're guaranteed liberty. The government will protect your life and your rights in order to pursue your version of happiness. So now Clay Jenkinson believes here that Thomas Jefferson said the government will protect you, but only to a limited extent. So the government will help you in this new America pursue your version of happiness, but they more or less leave you alone to pursue it. Okay? So the government does have influence on your life, but not a lot of influence. So let's take a look here. What is this? It's an interview. Who said it? We have Clay Jenkinson. Okay, and who is he? He is an American humanities scholar. Okay, purpose. So why would Clay Jenkinson provide this perspective? To inform us of Clay Jenkinson, opinion of Thomas Jefferson, view of the pursuit of happiness, and the Declaration of Independence. Okay? So this is to inform us. Okay? All right. So now what's the message here? Clay Jenkinson believes that what Thomas Jefferson really meant when he said the pursuit of happiness in the Declaration of Independence was that the government would protect your rights, but would not interfere with your personal pursuit of happiness. Okay? So this is another interpretation. The government will protect your rights, but they will not interfere with your personal pursuit of happiness. All right? So when we go back and reiterate, so in 1997, Clay Jenkinson, an American humanities scholar, in an interview, he wanted to inform us of Thomas Jefferson's view of the pursuit of happiness in the Declaration of Independence, where Clay Jenkinson believes that what Thomas Jefferson really meant when he said the pursuit of happiness in the Declaration of Independence was that the government would protect your rights, but would not interfere with your personal pursuit of happiness. So here's another interpretation by an informed, educated scholar, okay, on one of the Enlightenment reformists' perspectives on the pursuit of happiness in America. Okay? So now what you're going to do is you're going to take 2 to 3 minutes and you're going to reflect here. This document does or does not match my pursuit of happiness, because you want a nice, detailed explanation using descriptive words. Okay? A 1-sentence answer is not good enough. Okay? 2 to 5 sentences explaining exactly why. Okay? How does your point of view, your perspective, your thinking align with this idea? All right? Pause the video, and when you're finished, unpause with spacebar and move on. Okay, here we are, document 3. Document 3 is another individual, current day individual named Gary Wills. In a Ken Burns interview in 1997, he gave his perspective on Thomas Jefferson. So who's Gary Wills? Gary Wills is an American author, a journalist, a historian, specializing in American history, politics, and religion, especially the history of the Catholic Church. He won a Pulitzer Prize for the general nonfiction in 1993. This is another individual, a historian with high credibility. Let's see what Gary Willis believes Thomas Jefferson really meant when he said the pursuit of happiness in the Declaration of Independence. And Gary believes what is basically meant is that people have to shape their lives in such a way that they can have control over pleasure and pain in their lives. What does that mean? Think about that. Control over their own pleasure, control over their own pain. The freedom to pursue their happiness, that's control over your pleasure. And the freedom to avoid negative things that cause sadness and hurt and pain. All right. And so when he's saying that a system is denying us our pursuit of happiness, Thomas Jefferson is saying that a system that we get more pain in that system. If an unfair king was to make your life miserable, that's a system where we get more pain, more torture, more imprisonment, more legal procedures under that system than we would get out of this other system, our American democracy. He worked it out, Thomas Jefferson, in a very scientific way. The encyclopedists would say things like, this town has a greater quantity of happiness because fewer communion wafers are distributed in it. What does that mean? Which means there is less superstition, so it's more enlightened, educated, informed. And therefore, the pursuit of happiness is more successfully carried out there. Ooh, this paragraph is deep. Controlling your own pleasure, controlling your own pain. Controlling your own pleasure is pursuing your version of happiness and doing the things that you need to do to become happy every day and in the long run. And that is the pursuit of happiness by controlling pleasure and avoiding laziness and other activities that would cause you to suffer pain, especially living under an unfair ruler such as an unfair king. Okay, let's take a look. What is this? It's another interview. Who said it? We have Gary Willis. And let's say he's a historian more than anything else. And what is the purpose? And we can go right back up here. Very simple purpose. They're all similar to inform us of Gary Willis' opinion on Thomas Jefferson's view of the pursuit of happiness in the Declaration of Independence. Now, what is the meaning according to Gary Willis? Gary Willis believes that Thomas Jefferson and the pursuit of happiness was more about having the freedom to control your actions in order to gain immediate and long-term pleasure while avoiding pain-related outcomes. Okay? In this new country, America, and the Declaration of Independence, Gary Willis believes that Thomas Jefferson meant the pursuit of happiness was about taking actions to defy an unfair king, start a new government in which people vote for their own rights, and that is one of the actions you can take to increase long-term and immediate pleasure in your life because you're voting for politicians who make laws that best meet your needs, while avoiding actions that would cause you pain in your life, making healthy-minded long-term and short-term decisions. Okay? This is very personal, it seems. So, let's reflect on the document. This document does, or this document does not, match my pursuit of happiness because 2 to 5 sentences, people, very detailed. Take your time. Make sure your explanation is very clear. While your pursuit of happiness is similar or different to this interpretation of Thomas Jefferson's pursuit of happiness in the Declaration of Independence. Take 2 to 5 minutes. Okay, here we are, document 4. Document 4 you're going to do on your own. We have Andrew Bernstein. Andrew Bernstein, he holds a PhD in philosophy from the Graduate School of the City University of New York. He's taught philosophy at the State University of New York, Purchase, Marist College, Hunter College, the State University of New York at New Paltz, and other New York area universities. A well-rounded, credible professor of philosophy. And I want you to try to interpret that. And once you do, take 3 to 5 minutes, read it, pause it, fill out the information, the message, and if you agree or disagree. And once you're finished, you're going to move over to document 5 and do the same thing. Everything in document 5 that's bold, you'll see there are definitions at the bottom to help you understand. And you're going to finish off with document 6. And once you finish document 6, you're going to come down here, choose 3 documents. 2 documents that most accurately reflect your version of the pursuit of happiness, and 1 document that is different. There you go. And you would fill this out right here, give a nice explanation, and then once we finish, you can start your argumentative paragraph that responds to the prompt. Prompt. How does Thomas Jefferson's interpretation of the American pursuit of happiness in the Declaration of Independence compare to your pursuit of happiness today? I hope this helps. If you have any questions, you email me and I'll respond promptly. Thanks for watching.